So the enterprise portal is something that we're launching very soon. It's sort of in like a bit of an alpha right now. So if you want to try it out, I think probably maybe next week we'll be able to turn it on for a couple accounts, and you'll be able to try it out on some different customers, and try it out in developer licenses and things, and just kind of test out setting it up. Okay, so what are we doing with the enterprise portal? Like, what's the goal? So it's really an evolution of the download portal. So if you've been with us for a while, for air gap customers, we've had this download portal, and it's basically a location that your customers can go to access all the artifacts that they need to primarily do an air gap installation of your application. It is something that we've added a little more functionality to, particularly around Helm, because Helm, there's kind of like a variety of challenges for getting the images and pulling them into different internal registries and things. So we've updated a little bit recently, but as we were doing that, we realized there's a lot more we could do. And so we looked at some of the limitations of the download portal. And currently, the way that a customer accesses it is there's a customer specific URL that you generate a password for, and you give them that password. So you would give them a URL and a password, but it's a shared password that their entire team would use, and it's kind of a static, single credential, just a password. The reporting is extremely limited. We show a little bit of information like that somebody accessed the download portal, but that's it. The branding, you can just put up a little icon next to the name. That's pretty simple. Again, it's really only for air gap installs. It doesn't provide feedback to users around what's happening with their installation or their instances. This doesn't really have much deep functionality or customer communication. So we are aiming to solve most of these problems with the enterprise portal. Think about this as kind of the download portal 2.0. And I'm going to get into a pretty comprehensive demo of what we have today and sort of what we hope to add over the coming weeks and months as well. But for starters, the first thing that we addressed is authentication. So you no longer have to create a single password that's shared for all the users. Instead, there's actually user management. So you invite users to access their enterprise portal on the customer records. We're not actually like having them set a password. We just basically, every time they want to log in, we send a one-time use password to their email. And they can either click the link or paste the code back in to access it. We do consider this kind of like a form of MFA because it's both knowledge, so what's the email address I need to put in, and its ownership, which is, do I have access to the email? The next part is that I'm really excited about is more advanced reporting. So we're actually creating visibility for install and update attempt reporting. And we'll get into what that actually looks like. From the branding perspective, this is going to be a much more branded, kind of white labeled, control the colors, control the logos. There's some, mentioned there's some emails that go out. You'll be able to control the emails, the domains, a lot of things here. So it should really feel like a part of your, overall brand and application. It will support kind of all of these different install options, not just air gap. So you'll be able to do online installs, you'll be able to do proxy installs, air gap installs, and it'll kind of be smart about that. It's really going to guide users through the installation and update process. So it'll provide feedback and insight as to where they are in the process. And finally, or I guess next, it has some functionality around support bundle management. So you're going to be able to upload support bundles. Customer can download those, delete those. Just a really a much better way of actually getting support bundle collection, particularly for Helm installs. And then finally, there's email content that you're going to be able to send to customers, and that could be an invitation to join the enterprise portal. It could be the login information, or it could be a notification that an update's available. So all that will kind of be controlled through the enterprise portal and the enterprise portal management. really our goal here is to create a world-class unboxing experience. So, this one of the key metrics that we're following everywhere is installation success rate. So we want we want your customers to be able to very quickly and easily, you know, follow instructions and get a version of your software deployed in their environment. And so we think providing direct guidance so that they don't get confused by the documentations, they know what the next step is, they know what the options are. We think that's a really powerful way to make that installation success rate improve for all of your end customer installations. The next part of this is really about adding substance to your enterprise product. Like we want to create an experience that you feel like really represents your product and how thoughtful this is, so that your product feels really substantial. We also are addressing some security challenges with license IDs. So, or like the single shared password. The download portal had important intellectual property assets. You want to be able to make sure that, the customers that are actually intended to have access to that, not someone that maybe left the company a long time ago. And then finally, just, this is the first time we're really creating, end customer communication. And so we want you to be able to control that and make that great. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the demo. When the enterprise portal is enabled for your team, what will happen is you'll see this new tab here on the left, Enterprise Portal. From there, you'll be able to configure sort of the branding, what's the title, what are the colors or a background image that are used. And then this will be reflected in the enterprise portal that you have set up. And so you can see we're already using the custom domain. So this is, if you have a download portal custom domain, this will kind of replace that. And then your customers will be able to access it. What we do next is within a customer record, we actually invite a customer. So if I go into here and I click Enterprise Portal Access, I can invite a user. So I can put their email address in, and they'll get an email invitation to join the team. When they do that, they actually land here. So this is the enterprise portal that is live. This is that feature. So this is the live functionality that we plan to launch with. And I'll kind of go over some of that functionality. So again, from the start, it's about access and invitation, right? So like being able to manage users a little bit easier. I, as the end user, can actually invite users as well. So I can invite other members of my team to join this enterprise portal. And again, just a very secure way, just sends them an email with the code they can use to log in. Those emails are all controlled by you. So, I've got my temporary login link email. I can, it'll come from enterprise@wpe.wp-e.io, control the name. I can template this and I can preview what it looks like here. So, this is going to be the email. And again, I have full control over the HTML of this email. I have control over some of the variables that are available. And this will be what is sent to my customer to log in. You can verify, you basically do email delegation to us in addition to your custom domain. All right. And then, once I'm in, probably the most important thing that I'm going to try to do here is actually do an installation. So, for this customer, they only have, if I look at the Fiserv customer record, this customer, there we go. So it should look, has the embedded cluster and the Helm CLI enabled, which means that's what will actually show up here is the options for them to install. You'll also be able to control this first screen. This is going to be a pre-install step. And then the customer is going to, ask a couple of questions. So they'll give a nickname. So I'm going to call this Replicon demo. I'm going to do an online install into an Ubuntu machine, and I'll click continue. And then the version I'm going to install is the latest. And I'm going to actually go ahead and run this command on a server that I might try to install this on. And when I do that, you can see that it actually checks this little box. So it knows that we've taken the steps to download this. And this is important because this is the data that's going to start to feed back for around installation attempt reporting. So we're going to know that they started a download. We're going to know they completed a download. We're going to know that they started an install, that they completed an install. We're going to have all this information readily available. So, I'll run these commands. I'm just running them in a terminal that you can't see. Click continue here. And hopefully, what we'll see as I click continue here, and this is going to show up as a new instance here pretty soon. I already have an instance that's online, so that's kind of how we're tracking the version that was installed and what versions are ready for updates. But pretty soon a new instance will pop in that I just created here. So we'll wait for that to come online as well. So that's kind of the install side. On the update side, we'll have, guide the user through an update as well. This is actually going to be tracking more than just online, instances. They're going to have air gap instance records as well. And we'll talk about what that means. I'll also have the full release history, so I'll be able to see the release notes, all the versions that were released to me. I'll be able to view my license. This is going to show the non-hidden license fields and just kind of present this to the user. And then finally, we have this little support tab where I can get instructions for how to actually collect a support bundle. So for Linux-based installations, I can actually do the admin console, or I can run this command, on my workstation or on the server that has this installed. And then this will actually, if I run this on a controller node, then I'll actually get the support bundle there. For Helm, that has to be done through the crew plugin. So, I install this, and then I can run this command from kubectl as a kubectl plugin. Additionally, I'll be able to upload that support bundle. That'll give me a chance to, share it with you, the software vendor, and get support. So that's kind of at launch, kind of the core functionality we have set up here. It's really around team management, install, update, release history, supportability. The one other piece that we will have at launch that I don't have ready to show yet is that install and update attempt reporting. So on the customer record and the reporting tab, you'll start to see, the kind of flows that were taken by, John Smith at this time, logged into the registry, pulled the images, ran the upgrade command. You'll see that flow of each step at what time they completed it. Maybe if there was a challenge, whatever happened along the way, failed to pull image or permission denied, right? So you'll get insight into actual, like every time that someone is doing an update attempt. We're able to do that partially because on that install process, we create just-in-time service accounts. So if I go over to this team settings, you'll see a lot of service accounts. Let's see, we'll just click back there. You'll see a lot of service accounts. And that's because we create a just-in-time service account with every installation. So if I do another one of these, demo 2, pick a couple of these things. So they're actually unique names because we create a just-in-time service account to access and pull this logo or this license. So because this is unique to this attempt, we know that anytime that something is wrong with this, that this was done with that specific install attempt. Cool. So that is, again, kind of like at launch, which will be, in the next, kind of alpha next week. If you want to try it out, reach out to us. But there's more to come. So, beyond just kind of this overall experience around install and update, release history, user management, one of the more interesting things that I think is coming down the pipe that I'll share a little prototype of is actually around security. And so our intention here is to actually provide our customers with the ability to include this Security Center tab in their enterprise portal. And when they do that, they'll be able to basically attach different security reports to releases and then deliver that through the enterprise portal. So, I think about this primarily as supply chain security kind of reporting. So, we want to provide a CVE report or an SBOM, maybe a SALSA report with each release, image signatures. And so you'll be able to do this. And yes, if you provide a CVE report, customers still might want to scan the images themselves. But generally, we believe that if you're able to kind of get on offense with some of these security things and say, hey, here's, how what our CVE scanning tells us about our images, right? That's a really good step in the right direction. And then the other thing that Mark mentioned is we do intend to integrate Chartsmith. This will be optional, so this isn't something you have to do, but you'll be able to integrate Chartsmith for customers that way they can actually kind of use that end user mode to create their value overrides. So I can create a new values, file. I can always have it just say like, hey, these are templated placeholders, and maybe we'll create a separate, secrets.yaml or secret values.yaml so that they have, sensitive information. We'll just put placeholders there. They don't have to put that into this product. But the goal is now I can chat with a kind of Helm native LLM and talk to it about this chart. And that way I can make single requests and it can go off and do a lot of different things and, update the values files in multiple places. And it can make those smart edits on my behalf. And then I can, render this out and validate that it's going to work. We think this is a really kind of compelling way to actually take the next step for configuration, better than just like filling out some form. It's like, well, why not allow the LLM to help me configure this? It knows my chart. It can know these things to do as well. And I think we have a lot of plans for the enterprise portal. We think it can be, ideally, we think it already is, just even the version that we have live. We think this is by far the best end customer experience that we have seen anyone else do overall. So, we're excited to actually get this into your hands and for customers to start to use this. But, just go ahead and reach out to us if you want to try it out. And with that, I will see if there are questions, but that's my demo. Cool. Let me check the chat. Oh, I do have one chat. Is there a way to pin or limit our app versions that we want customers to see through the portal? Yeah, so there's I guess the first answer is when you are managing a customer, here, the release channel is really kind of what determines what version they have access to. We do have a kind of another alpha feature that we call version pinning. So if you really want to keep a specific customer still on the same channel, but not allow them to get to, maybe the newest release, you want to keep them one behind, we do have that functionality that we can turn on. Again, it's somewhat of an alpha functionality. But, these turning on and off air gap, turning on and off install options, that'll control what the customer sees. There will be, you can also kind of control what they have access to. And, in general, you'll be able to control like the overall configuration of your enterprise portal. And again, and you also will do this, yeah, kind of on a per customer basis. So in the beginning, you're probably going to turn this on for like, your internally used licenses and not on for all of your customers. And then you'll test it out. You'll validate that it works the way you expect it to. And then you'll be able to roll, and your customers will still use the download portal in that meantime. And then eventually you'll roll this out to, to all your customers. Cool. Let's see here. How soon can we start playing around with Enterprise Portal and Chartsmith? I think Chartsmith is probably ready to play around with like now. I'd say the Enterprise Portal will probably take another week to be ready to kind of, turn it on for your account and to get alpha access. Will there be a mechanism to push a banner or message to our customers if we want to guide them on something, customer message through the Enterprise Portal? And are there plans to introduce the Security Center feature in the existing vendor portal? Yeah, so two things there. We have talked about potentially doing like an intercom integration or something for kind of customer messaging, and being able to chat with folks. So that's something you're interested in. It could be, we're happy to talk more about that. And then Security Center, yeah, the Security Center will kind of be managed on the vendor portal side. So like you'll have like a security tab where you like kind of manage and upload your different security reports per version. But it is designed to really power the, what your customers see, within this kind of security center for the Enterprise Portal. Cool. Any other questions before we wrap this up? And you're always welcome to hit me up. I'm just Grant@replicator.com. If you want to talk about the Enterprise Portal, I'm also probably in your Slack channels if you have a shared Slack channel with us. And excited to talk more about this because this has been a big focus of mine for the last few months. So, because while I am the CEO, I'm also a product manager, and this is one of my products. So.